Dr. Alex Carter leaned back in his chair, staring at the data on the glowing screen. His eyes burned from fatigue, but what unsettled him wasn't exhaustion. It was the numbers. They didn't make sense. For 3 years, Alex had worked aboard Earth's orbital research station, analyzing signals from deep space. But never, not once, had he seen readings like these. The probe Explorer 7 had been launched 6 months ago with a simple mission: survey distant stars, search for habitable worlds, and bring back data. Nothing unusual. Nothing world-shattering. And yet, here it was. The probe had done something no human machine was supposed to do. Something no human technology could even attempt. Explorer 7 had opened a stable connection, not just to another star system, not even to the far side of our own galaxy, but to Andromeda, millions of light-years away. Alex poured himself a coffee with trembling hands. He had studied physics for 15 years. He knew the limits of human science. Wormholes were a dream, faster-than-light travel a theory at best. Humanity was still struggling with chemical rockets and fragile space stations. And yet, their little probe had punched a hole through reality itself. The door slid open. Dr. Rachel Davis, head of the space program, stepped inside. She was brilliant, respected, and, judging by the expression on her face, already aware that something was terribly wrong. Or perhaps terribly right. "Tell me this is a mistake," she said quietly, looking at the screens. Alex shook his head. "It's real. Explorer 7 didn't just cross space, it made contact. With something." The probe's feed revealed massive structures orbiting distant stars, rings larger than entire planets, stations bigger than Earth's moon, fleets of vessels moving without propulsion systems. The quantum signatures it recorded didn't match anything in Earth's databases. These were technologies thousands of years beyond human capability. But here was the truly unnerving part. Explorer 7 wasn't just observing. Somehow, it was learning. It had copied fragments of those alien energy patterns and was now using them to stabilize its impossible wormhole. A human machine had imitated technology it shouldn't even understand. Rachel's hands shook as she activated the secure line to Earth. Within moments, the Global Space Command and the United Nations Science Council were being briefed. Humanity had crossed a threshold. Nothing would be the same again. While Rachel made her calls, Alex kept watching the stream of data. The probe showed cities in orbit, ships vanishing into folds of space, entire stars harnessed for power. Humanity had dreamed of such things in fiction, but here they were, real, undeniable. On Earth, far below, Captain Lisa Morgan of the Earth Defense Force received an urgent transmission. She expected a routine update. Instead, her console lit up with something utterly impossible, a message, not from Explorer 7, but from somewhere else entirely. It was written, in perfect English. The sender identified themselves as Ambassadors Thara of the Alterian Collective, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Science Council. A galactic council humanity had never heard of, and yet had apparently been a part of, unknowingly, for millennia. When Thara appeared on screen, Lisa's breath caught. The figure was crystalline, towering nearly 8 feet tall, refracting light like a living sculpture of glass and stone. And it spoke, without a mouth, without vocal cords, but its words carried clarity and weight. "Humans," it said, "you were not expected. Not yet." The ambassador explained what stunned every scientist on Earth: humanity had been observed for thousands of years. Watched silently, measured against the predictable pace of evolution. Civilizations always followed patterns: mathematics, physics, centuries of slow advancement, then cautious steps to the stars. But humans? Humans were breaking every law of galactic science. They had achieved quantum communication without understanding quantum mechanics. They had created stable wormholes 5,000 years earlier than any model predicted. They had leapt into interstellar travel while still relying on primitive chemical rockets. And this anomaly, terrified the galaxy. The ambassador's request was clear: the Galactic Science Council demanded permission to send a team to Earth. They needed to study humanity's technology. They needed to understand how one small, fragile species had shattered the very timeline of civilization. While diplomats scrambled to respond, another figure quietly prepared for the storm to come. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, Dr. Kevin Brooks worked in a secret government lab. Kevin wasn't like other scientists. He didn't build theories first. He built machines. And often, they worked, despite violating the laws of physics. It was Kevin who had designed Explorer 7's quantum drive, not through careful equations, but through what he called intuitive engineering. He combined unrelated technologies, tested wild ideas, and followed instincts no one could explain. His lab was cluttered with half-finished machines, strange coils, crystals, and generators that hummed with energies unnamed in any textbook. The maddening thing? His devices worked. Artificial gravity, faster-than-light communication, space-time drives, creations born not from systematic research, but from trial, error, and flashes of creativity. Other scientists mocked him. But they couldn't argue with his results. Now, Kevin's work was no longer just a curiosity. It was evidence. Evidence that humanity had stumbled onto a method of discovery that no other galactic civilization possessed. And the galaxy was coming to see for itself. 3 days later, space itself rippled near Earth's moon. A ship appeared, vast, elegant, shifting in color as if alive. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen, a vessel that stretched for miles, dwarfing every human craft in orbit. Captain Lisa Morgan watched from her command center as the alien ship slid into orbit. Aboard it were the promised investigators, a team sent by the Galactic Science Council to unravel the mystery of humanity. Leading them was Velter, an insectoid scholar who had studied technological development for over 3 centuries. Beside him was Dr. Nia World Seed, a plant-based intelligence from the Verdanian species, capable of reading technologies simply by touch. And finally, representing Earth's side, Dr. Rachel Davis herself, thrust suddenly into the role of humanity's ambassador to the stars. Their mission was simple, and yet profound: to discover how humanity had achieved the impossible. The delegation began its tour aboard Earth's orbital research station, where Alex Carter still analyzed Explorer 7's wormhole data. When the alien scientists first laid eyes on human technology, their reactions were nearly identical: puzzlement, disbelief, even fear. The quantum drive that powered Explorer 7 was no larger than a refrigerator, yet it bent spacetime as though it were clay. Galactic civilizations required installations the size of moons to achieve half as much. To the aliens, it was as if humans had built a supercomputer from stone tools. Nia reached out to human computers, attempting to interface with them directly. What she found shocked her even more: the machines operated not through linear logic, but through chaotic pattern recognition, improvising connections that should not exist. Human computers guessed. And yet, they guessed correctly. It was a mystery not just of technology, but of the mind that built it. Before long, the aliens would visit Kevin Brooks' Nevada lab. They would see firsthand the cluttered chaos where impossible machines were born. And they would ask questions that no human could truly answer. Because when humanity was asked, "How does it work?" their engineers simply shrugged and said, "We don't know." But it does. And in that uncertainty, the galaxy glimpsed something terrifying: a species whose creativity could rewrite the laws of reality itself. If you've been following so far, let me ask you, what do you think? Should humanity welcome these alien investigators, or fear what they might decide after seeing our technology? Leave your thoughts in the comments, because the story of human first contact with the Galactic Science Council is only just beginning. The desert sun burned overhead, but beneath the sand and stone lay something colder, stranger, and infinitely more dangerous. Buried under layers of steel and secrecy, Dr. Kevin Brooks' laboratory looked less like a government facility and more like the garage of a genius gone mad. Tables cluttered with wires, crystals, and generators hummed with alien energies. Screens flickered with half-deciphered equations that contradicted themselves. Machines whirred without a clear power source. And yet, they worked. This was where humanity's future had been forged, not in universities or corporate research centers, but in the chaotic imagination of a single man. Kevin Brooks was no ordinary scientist. He was the outlier, the anomaly, the engineer who ignored the rules of physics, and somehow bent reality to his will. Now, for the first time, alien eyes would see his work. The air shimmered as the alien delegation entered the lab. Velter, the insectoid scholar, clicked his mandibles nervously, his multifaceted eyes darting across the strange devices. Dr. Nia World Seed, the plant-based intelligence, extended luminous vines to brush against the machines. Even Ambassadors Thara, composed and crystalline, seemed to fracture slightly in the glow of the human inventions. Rachel Davis led them in, her voice steady though her heart raced. "This," she said, "is where Explorer 7's quantum drive was built. Dr. Brooks designed it." Kevin stepped forward, adjusting his glasses. He wasn't dressed for history, just jeans and a wrinkled shirt, but he carried the casual confidence of someone who knew he was indispensable. "Welcome to the chaos," he said with a crooked smile. "Try not to touch anything. Some of these devices don't like strangers." The aliens exchanged uneasy glances. Velter approached the first machine, a squat device that looked like a tangle of copper coils wrapped around a glass sphere. "What is its function?" the alien asked. Kevin scratched his head. "Artificial gravity generator. About the size of a coffee maker. Stable enough to hold a ship together under faster-than-light acceleration." Velter froze. His species had spent 2 millennia developing gravity control, and even then, their devices were the size of buildings. Yet here was a human-built box that fit on a desk. "How?" Velter demanded. Kevin shrugged. "Trial and error. I spun up the coils in different configurations until one of them bent spacetime in the right way. Don't ask me why it works, I couldn't tell you." The delegation murmured in disbelief. To them, science was a cathedral built brick by brick, every advance carefully recorded, every principle understood. But here stood a human who admitted, without shame, that he didn't understand his own creations. He simply made them. Nia extended her glowing vines toward the gravity generator. When her tendrils brushed its surface, she recoiled violently. "This is chaos," she whispered, her voice trembling like leaves in a storm. "This machine, it does not obey the lattice of logic. It invents its own." The investigation continued. One device generated faster-than-light communication by piggybacking on quantum fluctuations. Another folded space into a temporary tunnel, a primitive wormhole. Yet another appeared to be a shield generator, bending energy around itself in ways that defied conservation of momentum. Everywhere the aliens looked, they saw the same pattern: brilliance without order. Human technology leapt across centuries of progress, skipping the steps that all civilizations were expected to follow. Ambassadors Thara finally spoke. His crystalline body refracted light into sharp rainbows. "You should not exist," he said softly. "Your machines are not inventions, they are accidents. Beautiful accidents. But accidents are dangerous. Entire worlds have been lost to less." Rachel bristled. "We're not children playing with matches. Humanity knows the risks. We're careful." Kevin laughed dryly. "Careful? Half of these things nearly killed me before they worked. But that's the point. You keep pushing until you find the edge. That's how progress is made." The aliens stared at him as though he had just confessed to madness. And in their eyes, perhaps he had. That night, the alien delegation transmitted their findings to the Galactic Science Council. Their message was stark: humanity was not simply another young race. Humanity was unpredictable. Humanity was dangerous. In the great chambers of the council, far across the stars, debates raged. Some argued for containment. Others for observation. A few whispered of preemptive action, the quiet elimination of a species that might one day outpace them all. But one truth was undeniable: the laws of galactic science had been broken, and Earth was the fault line. Back in Nevada, long after the delegation had retired, Rachel found Kevin still tinkering in his lab. Sparks danced from one of his devices as he tightened a bolt. "You realize what you've done," she said. Kevin smirked. "Made a bunch of aliens nervous?" "Yeah, I noticed." Rachel sat across from him, her face heavy with worry. "They're not just nervous. They're afraid. And fear leads to, well, you know what it leads to." Kevin's hand stilled. For the first time that day, his confidence faltered. "You think they'll come after us?" he asked quietly. Rachel didn't answer. She didn't need to. The next morning, the delegation requested a demonstration. They wanted proof that humanity's machines weren't accidents, that they could be controlled. Kevin reluctantly agreed. He wheeled out a device no larger than a suitcase, a portable wormhole generator. With a flick of a switch, space twisted above the device, opening a shimmering doorway that revealed the Nevada desert outside. Gasps filled the room. The aliens recoiled. "This is not possible," Velter hissed. "A wormhole of this size requires a planetary array. Entire moons stripped for energy. And yet you..." Kevin cut him off with a grin. "And yet here it is." He stepped through the wormhole and reappeared outside the window, waving at them. Then he shut the machine off with a casual flick. For a long time, no one spoke. Finally, Nia whispered, "If humanity can do this without understanding, what will you do once you do understand?" No one answered. The investigation was nearly over. Reports had been sent. Judgments were being formed. And across the stars, the council prepared to decide humanity's fate. Rachel knew the truth: Earth stood on the edge of history. One decision could elevate them to galactic partners, or condemn them as a threat to be erased. But Kevin? Kevin kept building. Late into the night, he scribbled new designs on scraps of paper, muttering to himself about drives that could fold galaxies, engines that could rewrite time. To him, the fear of alien councils was irrelevant. There was only one path forward: keep creating, keep pushing, keep reaching beyond the possible. And perhaps that was what terrified the galaxy most. Because humanity wasn't just advancing. Humanity was accelerating. So here's the question for you: if a species like ours can leap ahead without knowing why, should the galaxy welcome us, or stop us before it's too late? Leave your thoughts below. The council chamber was carved into the heart of a dying star, its walls glowing with the slow burn of stellar plasma. Here, decisions that shaped galaxies were made. Here, entire civilizations had been judged, uplifted, or erased. Now, Earth stood trial. The alien delegation's findings had spread across the stars. Clips of Kevin Brooks' wormhole generator were already circulating through hidden networks. Rumors whispered of a human scientist who bent reality with a laugh and a wrench. Fear spread faster than light. Ambassador Thara's crystalline voice echoed through the chamber. The humans have breached the lattice of science. They build what they do not understand. Their machines are chaos given form. To allow them unchecked is to invite disaster. A dozen voices rose in agreement. They leap centuries without foundation. They bend gravity as if it were a toy. A species that plays with wormholes will not stop until something breaks. But others pushed back. They are new. Young. All young species are reckless. They could be guided, taught, absorbed into the galactic order. To strike them now would ignite war. The debate dragged on for days. At last, a decision emerged: Earth would not be destroyed, but it would not be trusted. Humanity would be placed under observation. Trade restricted. Travel limited. Their technologies monitored. It was, in essence, a quarantine. Rachel Davis read the council's verdict aloud in the Nevada lab. Her voice was flat, but Kevin heard the anger beneath it. Restricted contact. Monitored development. No access to galactic archives. Effective immediately. Kevin leaned back in his chair and snorted. So basically, they grounded us. Rachel set the datapad down hard. It's not a joke. They see us as a threat. And when powerful civilizations see a threat, Kevin, history shows only one outcome. Kevin met her gaze. Then we'd better stay one step ahead. The alien delegation prepared to leave Earth, but one visitor remained behind. The Harari observer, a quiet, silver-eyed being who had spoken little during the investigation, requested a private meeting. The Harari were old. Neutral. They served no empire, no council. They were wanderers between stars, recording histories too vast for most to imagine. And unlike the others, they were not afraid of humanity. They were, intrigued. The Harari spoke softly to Rachel and Kevin. You think the council fears you because of your inventions. That is true, but not the whole truth. They fear something else. Something older. Kevin frowned. Older than the council. The Harari's silver eyes reflected the hum of Kevin's machines. There are patterns in this galaxy. Civilizations rise, expand, and vanish. Some collapse by their own hand. Others are erased. Always, it happens when they begin to tamper with spacetime itself. When they bend gravity, when they open doors not meant to be opened. Rachel's heart tightened. Are you saying? Yes, the Harari whispered. The architects awaken when the lattice is disturbed. They are not gods. They are not demons. They are engineers. Builders of the first order. And destroyers of all who trespass on their design. For 500,000 years, the galaxy had believed itself free. The old myths of the architects were dismissed as cautionary tales, legends of an ancient war long forgotten. But the Harari's words cut deeper. The Council had not quarantined Earth merely out of fear of humans. They had quarantined Earth to delay the moment when humanity's chaotic science drew the architect's gaze. Kevin sat in silence, the weight of it pressing down. For the first time, even he had no sarcastic remark. Rachel whispered, then the real danger, isn't the Council. It isn't the galaxy. The Harari nodded slowly. It is what waits in the dark between stars. And it is already watching you. That night, Rachel stood alone in the desert, staring up at the stars. Humanity had always dreamed of joining a larger galaxy. But now she saw the truth, the galaxy itself lived in fear. Entire civilizations had built their futures around avoiding a shadow no one dared name. And Earth? Earth had already tripped the alarm. Behind her, Kevin approached, holding a battered notebook full of sketches. You're thinking about the Harari's warning, aren't you? Rachel didn't turn. You're not taking it seriously enough. Kevin smiled faintly, though his eyes betrayed unease. Of course I'm taking it seriously. But if the architects are real, if they come for anyone who dares to break the rules, then maybe it's time someone finally broke them properly. Rachel turned, startled. You can't be serious. Dead serious, Kevin said. The galaxy tiptoes around like scared children. Maybe what we need isn't caution. Maybe what we need is a species reckless enough to stare the architects in the face. Rachel stared at him in the starlight, torn between fear and admiration. For all his madness, Kevin Brooks embodied something deeply human, the refusal to bow, even to gods. Far across the stars, the Council tracked Earth's every move. Probes hovered at the edge of the solar system. Interceptors lurked beyond Pluto. Every human transmission was intercepted. Yet the more they watched, the less they understood. Kevin Brooks' designs spread quietly through underground labs. New machines appeared, half-finished, unpredictable, alive in their own strange way. Humanity was not slowing down. If anything, it was accelerating. Before departing, the Harari left Rachel a final message, etched into a crystal shard. Be careful what doors you open. The architects do not forgive curiosity. They erase it. Rachel kept the shard hidden. She told no one, not the council, not the delegation, not even Kevin. Because she knew the truth, Kevin would not stop. Humanity would not stop. And deep down, she wondered if perhaps that was right. Because if the architects truly existed, someone would eventually have to face them. Better it be humanity, reckless, defiant, unpredictable humanity, than anyone else. As the alien ships departed Earth's orbit, leaving the planet isolated under its new restrictions, Kevin looked out at the sky and laughed softly. They think they've caged us, he said. But all they've done is give us time. Rachel stood beside him, the Harari's warning heavy in her mind. Time to prepare. Time to build. Time to decide whether humanity's chaos was a curse, or the only hope the galaxy had left. Because somewhere out there, in the silent dark, the architects were waiting. And Earth had just announced itself. The galaxy thinks Earth is dangerous. The Harari say Earth has awakened something far worse. What do you think? Should humanity slow down? Or keep pushing forward, no matter the cost?